July 6, 2014. Guys, this is important and we need to pay attention to it. I want to read it. It says, Kenneth Wolf, a spokesman for the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, said that an unaccompanied child was recently hospitalized after being diagnosed with swine flu, what they call H1N1. Now, remember, a lone child. Wolf says officials believe this is an isolated incident but are closely monitoring all children at Lackland and other similar shelters the agency is operating around the country. Lackland is where they train all of our Air Force recruits, guys. I was there when my son graduated. This is bad. It says that tells you that when you've got kids coming in from some of these countries where they don't have great health systems, you have to watch it. It says Representative Henry Kuehler, he said, I've talked to Border Patrol in McAllen. They've seen TB, chicken pox, and scabies. According to the Border Patrol, 4 out of 5 of their agents have tested positive for those diseases. And guys, when I was at Lackland Air Force Base, there were 700 or plus recruits coming through there, graduating at a time. And they were rotating them in and out, a lot of people. And they seemed to be putting them in our military bases. It's almost like a form of biological suicide bombers. And what are the implications of that? And what would be the repercussions? And what is the New World Order plan? It says, this is breaking news. Texas and California militia unite to defend the border. The lack of action on border security from the Obama administration has prompted a wide variety of responses. State officials close to the situation in Texas and Arizona have called for federal assistance but have received little response, leaving them to do what they can with their own resources. Death from within, guys. Civilian protesters have coordinated to challenge the transportation of illegal immigrants throughout the country by the Department of Homeland Security agents. Not very Homeland Secure, is it? Other civilians organized into militia groups have moved troops to Arizona and Texas to assist in closing a border that the federal government seems content to leave open despite the growing violence. Here's your guns. New California military members militia members have united with their comrades in Texas to support state efforts challenging Obama's apathy and assist in securing the nation's southern borders. And in the bottom right, there's a television report that says riders recorded raid on a border wall. You can see this. This was filmed from the people raiding or coming up this wall. It says agents for the Border Patrol say this is the first organized assault here. Now, what are we looking at? The government's openly letting these people come in. We've got disease coming in. Again, biological warfare could very well be. Some of these kids could be injected on purpose, not even knowing what they're carrying. But with the militia coming in, you're looking at possible gun grabs. You're talking about someone stepping in, controlling the border. Who would do that? The One World UN. But Fox News is reporting. It says Free Republic founder Jim Robinson posted this on a popular conservative internet forum on Friday evening. He said, we have independent units from the Bolinas Border Patrol and the Central Valley Citizens Militia joining forces with independent citizens militia units of Texas to defend our southern border in Texas, to protest Obama's lawless open border policies, and to rally support for Governor Perry to officially call out Guard units and Texas militia units at his disposal to defend the border. Lawsuits will not cut it. The invasion is happening now. Action must be taken now. Guys, again, what kind of game are we playing? This report says a disease pandemic, real threat for U.S. from border patrols. America is facing a health crisis of unparalleled proportions. We could be weeks away from an outbreak of several pandemics on our southern border, which will lead to the United Nations emerging as a legitimized police force, operating within the territory boundaries of the United States, ostensibly here to meet the crisis. Guys, we could be looking at forced vaccinations on the U.S. public, as well as some type of intervention to stop a civil war. Now, we know that the UN is emerging as a legitimized police force. operating in our boundaries already from certain reports. And why is the CDC silent? Says there, and why are the reports of a temporary decontamination center set up in El Paso, Texas, similar to those used in West Africa? What is it for? Why are more doctors in the southern border states not already on alert to handle sudden increases of TB, adult chickenpox, measles, H1N1, dengue, Ebola from Africa? This guy's saying he wants to be crystal clear. When the UN assumes control of the emerging planned border crisis, you hear that, planned? This will mark the beginning of the end of the U.S., and when the economy collapses, this will mark the end of American sovereignty. The UN must never be allowed to have a political force controlling the U.S. And the report I did earlier about ISIS wants to move to Rome, listen to this. They're talking about 5,000 people rescued in 24 hours there, many of them diseased. It says the United States President and Italy's Prime Minister have weaknesses in common. They both face the same problems of illegal aliens flooding their border. And these are coming from Africa, where Ebola is. So you not only have to watch the African borders, but now Rome. ISIS said they would take down Rome. Is this another biological suicide bomb? Think about it. The number of migrant arrivals have now soared past the record 63,000 set in 2011. Guys, that's when the Arab Spring started. That's when all of this started, and now we're seeing it come to the U.S. We've talked about it. There are so many implications, it's hard to wrap your heads around it, guys, but it's a heads up, be safe.